Welcome back to the March edition of Conversation with Archbishop Kurtz. And I have two guests here for this segment, and I'd like to introduce them because we're going to be talking about a very good topic. It's the topic of the Pastoral Council of the Archdiocese of Louisville, also known as PCAL. So first of all, Jackie Mudd, I want to welcome you and thank you for coming. I know that you and your husband Jordan and I think five children. Are members of Holy Family Church, so welcome, Jackie.
Thank you.
And Fred Schuhmann. Fred, thank you. I know Betty Sue and you are members of Our Lady of Perpetual Help in Campbellsville. So thank you for your presence. You have, and I didn't know this until, you have 3 grown children, but you also have 4 grandchildren.
That's
Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, welcome to both of you, and
Thank
we're
you.
really grateful for your presence. Let me tell the audience a little bit about what the Pastoral Council is. Very simply, it's a consultative body. It's important that the bishop or the archbishop and others listen to the faithful. So this is a consultative body. We usually meet twice a year, and you're always at those, so thank you for your faithfulness. And really has a couple of purposes. One, it gives me the opportunity as the archbishop to be in dialogue with the chairs of the parish councils throughout the archdiocese, and we often get 60 or 70 different representatives, so it's really a wide range of the 110 parishes that we have. I love that dialogue. It gives me a chance to give some updates, but it also gives me a chance to hear questions from others or comments. Secondly, we usually look at 2 very critical issues that we need advice about, and you may even recall some of those. And then thirdly, after lunch, I leave, and Brian Reynolds gives a wonderful update on administrative issues that I know is very valuable to you. So that's just a little update. Let me begin by just asking, Jackie, from your viewpoint, do you recall how long have you been with PCAL, and what has your experience been?
Sure. So I've attended, I think, PCAL meetings over the last 5 years.
5 years.
I don't think I've missed any in that time either. So I really enjoy the dialogue with you. I like the updates on upcoming events too.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and you have been very faithful, and now you're not getting a prize for coming the farthest because it's right there at your parish, basically. But Fred, I think you may well. Tell us a little bit about what your experience has been.
Well, I love attending PCAL for some of the same reasons that Jackie mentioned, the updates, the opportunity to express what we feel in the parish, what we sense of some of the diocesan initiatives. I like the opportunity to have input on those. And then the updates with Dr. Reynolds and sometimes other agency directors really helps because in the southern part of the Archdiocese, we don't have quite the contact, quite the opportunity to meet and talk with some of the directors, agency directors, and others.
Yeah, it can be isolated, can't it, Fred?
You can feel that way.
Yeah, and we're 110 parishes in 24 counties, and we have to remind ourselves about that, and your presence does that, as yours does too, Jackie. Thank you. You know, in many ways, I guess we could look at PCAL or this Pastoral Council as having a double benefit. First of all, the benefit to the Archdiocese or the Archbishop, and then maybe the benefit to parishes. So I wondered if you might comment a little bit about how have you seen that as a benefit to the Archdiocese, that your advice is being heeded, so to speak, but also maybe to when you go back to your parish. And Jackie, do you have some observations?
Oh, absolutely. One of my biggest takeaways from PCAL has always been that feeling that Holy Family is not an island. The interconnectedness and the interworkings of all of the parishes together is usually one of my biggest takeaways from all of the meetings. Because a lot of times you get muddled down in your own parish's issues or triumphs. But at a PCAL meeting, we're all one big universal church again.
Yeah.
And I like that reminder that I'm not an island.
Yeah. And you're interacting with other people.
Exactly.
We didn't mention that
Right.
you're actually meeting chairs of the parish councils
Exactly.
from
Yes.
other parishes. And the other thing you didn't mention, neither of you did, and it's maybe my favorite part of that, is lunch. that we have a great opportunity to, and sharing a meal is also a time to interact with others.
That's a
isn't
good
it?
point.
Yeah. So, Fred, what's your experience been as far as how it benefits the Archdiocese and maybe even your local
I
parish?
would like to piggyback on what Jackie had mentioned. We feel like, we have an opportunity to contribute. So we're part of a bigger entity, but yet we can play a part. We can have input, which is wonderful. And she mentioned something that I guess I'd call the silo effect, where we're in our little silo and we're happy. And the rural area where I come from, there's a lot of independent, non-denominational churches, and they're not universal. They're not one with anybody. They're in a silo, and I appreciate that. And it's helped in our parish council to think, let's hear what people have to say. Get opinions. You get a better result in the decisions that you make, because you have been more inclusive. And also
So
the
not
diversity.
only the issues themselves, but maybe the process.
Process is
The
important.
process of the way of listening is also, you've seen that being brought back and make good use of it at your parish council meetings themselves.
Certainly.
Yeah. We got very little time left. You're going to be mad at me because it goes so fast. But I'd be interested, how does it work out with regard to you both are engaged with your own parish councils. So what's been that interaction? What happens at the parish council?
Well, I can give a concrete example of the discernment process. When we first started talking about that at PCAL, that was something that I could take back to my deacon at church and have a very informed discussion with him about could we do this? How could we implement it? How could we make it the most effective process for us? And so we were able to start the planning process for it early on.
Wonderful.
And it was very beneficial.
Wonderful. And then that would be something that would come up at the full council, parish
Exactly.
council meeting itself.
Right.
And how about from your own viewpoint, Fred? I know that your pastor is involved in actually 3 parishes, isn't he? But at Our Lady of Perpetual Help, how has it been?
It's been very helpful to have this consultation, because, as you know, we've had turnover of priests, of pastors on a regular basis. 3 years has been the norm lately. So we have a solid group that can advise a new pastor and help us to move forward with things that we hear from people in the pews, their concerns for the physical space, the spiritual needs that they have. We can provide, concrete examples of what has been successful, and we can get a consensus.
So really, a
moving
stability.
forward.
It's the voice of the faithful, of the parishioners, but it also creates stability.
A good point.
Well, you've both given us great insights, and I know people who are either watching or listening have benefited from it. I have benefited from the friendship that I have with both of you, so thank you. Thank you for being here for this segment, and also for sharing so well your experiences.
Thank you,
And I
Archbishop.
thank all of you, the viewing and listening audience, for being with us. And I'd ask you now to stay tuned for the final edition of Conversations with Archbishop Kurtz, the March edition.